Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Pepper, and today I'll be giving you my first impressions of Stranger Things Upside Down. This is a cooperative game from Daviau, one of my favorite designers, CMON Games, one of my favorite publishers, and based on the Stranger Things TV show, which is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. So this was an instant buy. When this was announced, just recently after I had binged seasons 2, 3, and 4, which I absolutely loved, so it was the perfect time for it to be announced. This just jumped right to the top of my anticipated games list, my wish list, all my lists of upcoming games. And for one reason, Rob Daviau and CMON Games together released one of my all-time favorite games in Cthulhu, Death May Die, which is just an epic monster battler dice chucker game where you're going insane and getting game breaking abilities as you lose your sanity in near death, but get very, very powerful. And I feel like that Lovecraftian theme of Death May Die is similar to the Stranger Things universe, so I just instantly, when I didn't really have anything gameplay to go on, I just kind of tied those two together and just was thinking of a Death May Die but Stranger Things. So I was very excited. As more was released for this, and I saw the board with some printed actions on there and some stacks of tokens that you're managing, and it didn't look very epic. It felt tame and kind of just a regular game with a board and some printed actions that didn't feel as wild and crazy as something like Death May Die, which obviously it shouldn't be the same exact game. Not that I didn't back $300 more of Cthulhu Death May Die. I would buy much more of that same game, but you don't want it to be the same game. But so my expectations probably weren't fair, but when I saw that, I was a little disappointed that it just looked like a more regular game versus that epic dice chucker type of game. But then as more was released about the actual gameplay as it got closer to this actually coming out, a lot of the things were very intriguing as I actually learned how it was played, and my excitement ramped back up probably to about the point where it was right away. But now I played it for the first time late last night, like 2 a.m. in the morning. My thoughts on the game are amazing. I absolutely loved my first play of this game, and any worry that I had that it wasn't going to feel cinematic or feel epic or wouldn't have those stand-up moments went out the window. It absolutely had those, at least in my play. There were all those moments, especially near the end, where you're trying to win the game and save Will before the time runs out, before the deck runs out. You think that, oh, I have this huge deck of cards here. I'm not going to go through that 3 times. But then as it gets near the end, it's like, oh, I should probably get going because I only have one of the 3 objectives completed, and we're on the 3rd deck here. So once that runs out, we're done. And it really did ramp up near the end, and it did feel cinematic to me. But yeah, so a little explanation of the game. You have a board. I'm not going to unfold it all here, but this is the upside down side part of it. And then you have the Hawkins side here, which I'll show that face up. But you're pretty much moving around the board, and each spot has an action associated with it. And a lot of them have stacks that go here, which a big part in this game is those stacks, which sometimes they'll have a certain amount in them, and they have numbers, I think 0 through 5, as well as these Demogorgon tokens, which their value is dependent on. There's a Demogorgon track section, which keeps track of how valuable they are at any given time. But yeah, those stacks are there, and you go to those locations, and you have these action cards, which have a number printed on them, 1 to 3, I believe, and they have little bonuses for if you're in a space with other characters. That'll give you a little bonus or possibly a negative effect. But yeah, you're playing these action cards to try to get a sum that is higher than the sum of the tokens in the stack, which is a very cool idea. I like that. It's very push your luck on how much you're going to need, because once this is the deck of cards, these action cards that trigger the end game and the progression of the game. So if you go through that deck 3 times, then you lose. But yeah, so you want to not spend a bunch of these because you don't want to just run through that deck, play all 5 of your cards from your hand every turn, because then you're just going to really accelerate the game. But you also want to make sure that you do succeed in the action, because you really don't know if, and sometimes a lot of the tokens are face up on the top of those stacks, so you know a little information. You'll know maybe there's a 3 on top of the stack, so obviously you're going to need at least 3. And then maybe there's 2 other tokens, and you have to decide exactly how much you want to dedicate towards those actions. I really loved that mechanism. It has kind of an unknown, which is, I think, fitting for this theme of the game. You just don't know what's out there. You don't know. There are a lot of times I did a lot of overkill to the stacks, and I maybe played like 7, 8 worth of cards, and then because maybe a 3 was visible or something, and there were 2 more tokens under there, but then those 2 were a 1 and a 0, and I just overkilled that stack by 4. And then there was a time in the Upside Down when Joyce was trying to rescue Will, and she had 11 worth of power, but the tokens were high, and they were 12, and she lost by 1 point, 1 action point. If she just had a 2 instead of a 1, she could have cleared that stack, but was not successful. So it was just that, as you reveal the tokens one by one, it's exciting, I would say. It's a stand-up moment, and I think it's just as exciting as chucking a bunch of dice and trying to see how much damage you deal. I feel like this is just exciting, kind of revealing those tokens and seeing if you're successful. And even if you're not successful, you do randomly remove one of the tokens, which I think is really cool, because then you have information. You know what it could be. You know minimum what it's going to be, if you can remember it, which I didn't always. But you don't know which one's removed. So if they're all 4s, you know what it's going to be. But if it's a mix of tokens, a mix of numbers, then that is kind of a little bit of a risk there as well. When you go back there and it's like, which one was released? It was probably one of those 2 4s, but it could have just been the 0 that was taken out of that stack. I really, really enjoy that mechanism, which it's probably the biggest thing in the game, is this mechanism. So I'm really glad that I really do enjoy it and love it, and it is intense every time you do that. And near the end of the game, I thought I kept trying to decrease these, because I knew there were 2 of these in a stack, and I kept trying to decrease the amount of them by battling the Demogorgon. So I got it down to like 2 value, and then it just kept adding more stacks to that area and making them more valuable. And I just thought, okay, the time's running out. These action cards are running out. I'm getting into the 3rd deck of these. So I just was like, okay, just clear a token, I guess. Just fight it and fail, try to survive. Clear a token. And that time I revealed it, and I matched it exactly. Thanks to Joyce's bonus +1 for rescuing Will, I won against the stack. Because there was 2 of these, and I think it was a 3, and it was a 0. And I didn't think there would be a low token in there, but I was able to do it and clear that, and that was a huge stand-up moment. And as they were revealed, that was the last one. The low one was the last one revealed, and I'm like, oh gosh, I need this to be low, and it was, and it was great. It was a huge stand-up moment. So it was a relief, because like I said, I was worried if it would have those moments, but it definitely did with that system. As well as, so yeah, the characters all have a little bonus that they have here. So she's +1 to rescue Will, and Nancy I also played with, and she moves foes around the board. So moves them maybe out of the way, which they really do. A lot of the cards that are revealed at the end of the turn move the Demogorgon and move these vans, and they can really get in your way, because if you move into a spot with these, you have to stop and you have to fight them. And I never fought these vans, thankfully, because I just really, really tried to avoid them. But yeah, it is interesting how everything just kind of goes to, tries to get to you. I thought that worked really well and was really obstructive throughout the game. But yeah, some of the items are just fantastic. They're just various amounts of bonus action points to certain actions, and these stick with you throughout the game, as well as the allies that you can get. You can have as many allies as possible, but you have to defeat one of those stacks to actually gain them as an ally. So this to gain Jonathan, you'd have to defeat a stack of 3 tokens, which it's interesting because when you fail at the stack, you gain fear, which is one of the ways you lose the game if you run out of fear on your track. So it's interesting that you can battle a stack just trying to make a friend. In this case, I think it was like it could have been Joyce trying to gain Jonathan as an ally, but then she'd have to battle possibly one of those Demogorgon tokens, and possibly die trying to get Jonathan on her side. That's interesting that it's said. I guess that's just the danger of moving about and trying to do things that just naturally happens, but it is kind of funny that just recruiting an ally can possibly kill you in the game. But yeah, they stick around and give great effects as well. So he for example, always counts as a character in your space, which that's one of the ways that you get bonus action points for those radio symbols on these cards, which is really helpful near the end of the game. And also these items can just get huge. This is +4 to calm down, which that is healing your stress or healing your fear as well to keep you in the game longer. Joyce had that, so I was really able to go down into the upside down and possibly gain a lot of fear with her, hop out, and heal that. And I really like the arc of the game. It felt very natural, like it's actually telling a story. Early on, you're gaining a lot of allies, gaining different items, doing things in the town, and then you kind of go down into the upside down, do a couple things there. Then I obviously had to heal up, so I went back up into the town, and then the Demogorgon stacks started to get very high, so then I had to go and tackle that and battle them and get those stacks back down, and then I had to go heal up again. And then all the time maybe taking a stab at one of those Rescue Will stacks, and then the game, like that, just gets into that final round of that deck of action cards, and things are just ramping up so quickly, and then you have to go down into the upside down. You have to go and rescue Will, even if you're risking dying. And I got close once. I had Joyce got down to like 2 health points at one point. At like her final turn, she almost died, and thankfully she had Steve Harrington with her, so he helped her avoid some of that health damage or fear that she would have taken. Which I like how they try to avoid actually dying. You just are afraid. Yeah, it's death. But yeah, I really like that. I thought those items and those characters just gave great bonuses, and like I said, I just really like that arc of the game. Just everything has its time and its place that you want to do it. Early on, you want to reveal more tokens because you can kind of peek at different tokens and kind of get to know what's out there. There's always a time to heal, and then I just felt like the story kind of presented itself naturally. And then as well, all the 11 powers kind of have their moment where you are like, these vans are getting really annoying, and then it's like, oh, there's an 11 power to remove one of the vans. Okay, I'll go do that. Or you just really need to know what stack is in the upside down, so you can use one of those powers. And I just felt like each one of those powers kind of just naturally came to have the need for that power in the game. And I used, I think, 5 of the 6 there, which they were all very powerful and just felt great every time you used them. Other than that, though, I don't feel like 11 had a huge presence, because it was just that, just having 6 bonus big actions that you can do throughout the game. It didn't really feel like, oh, 11's on our side. It just felt like, let's go get a special action. So that part could be a negative, but I still like that they gave her a miniature to put up in the top there. But yeah, I really loved my play of this. Gave me so much more, like I said, just that epic cinematic feel than I was ever expecting when I saw that it was going to be just stacks of number tokens that you're trying to have a higher sum than. That on paper doesn't seem very thematic or very exciting, but it really, really delivered for me. So first impression, I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. It was everything that I wanted from the game. It exceeded all my expectations. The production is great. Have one of my favorite minis ever, the Demogorgon mini there, which also have a demo dog. There's two models for the demo dog. This is one of them. The other one has a closed mouth. We got the characters. Got Hopper there. But yeah, I like all the characters have a unique ability. That's very cool. Like the artwork, that it's not just like a screen grab from the show, it's actual artwork. Although these ones I think are maybe just kind of like a little filter on an actual image. I'm not sure exactly. So yeah, I do like that these actually have artwork versus just a picture. I thought that was a really nice to put that extra bit of love in there. But yeah, so I've only played the Season 1 board. I have not played Season 2. Hopefully that one does present new challenges and different things to do to actually differentiate itself. We'll see. I had Barb as a sidekick, and you get to remove Barb from the game to save yourself. So that was fun. I feel like there's thematic ties to each kind of character and their ability, which is really great. I love that. Just everything ties back to the show, the items as well. So I really felt the theme came through for this one. So yeah, just rambling on here, but love this game. Would really recommend it if you love Stranger Things. And if you're interested by that, a token mechanism, kind of a bit of push your luck, kind of unknown, you don't know what that is, but trying to take it on, trying to beat it, if that intrigues you at all, I think it's really well done. Yeah, comment below your thoughts on this game, how excited you are for it if you haven't played it, or your thoughts on Stranger Things as a show. But yeah, thank you for watching. Check out my unboxing video of this in the description below. It should be uploaded and linked. But otherwise, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.